Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. We won again. 4-1. Ajax Heerenveen. We got with me Kabir with a smile.
Yeah, finally, after, well, 2 wins in a row now, so can't wipe the smile off my face.
Yeah, no, indeed. We got lots to talk about, of course. I mean, the way we played, the formation, the players. A lot happened during this game. Uh, yeah, I want to start with was this result flattered? I mean, 4-1. Take us through the game. Take us through the game. Tell us something that popped up. What have you seen during the first half and the second half and so on? The floor is yours, man.
Yeah, look, I don't think, flattered 4-1. I think that you could argue that any victory by Ajax in the period that we're in could be flattered. But no, look, it was obviously a little bit of a weak start to the game, which is to be expected, even though we won our most previous game. Obviously, confidence is still not where it should be within the squad, right? So it's natural that that it might be a slightly cagey start. I think that we were obviously playing in a way that we were dropping slightly deeper and trying to be a bit patient, waiting for the opposition team to make a mistake. But then, when we scored our first goal, you saw that, well, actually, in the periods leading up to that as well, we started playing a bit better. It seemingly seemed, once we got through that first 20 minutes, the confidence started coming in. And then we scored the first goal, we scored the second goal. That obviously helps. So I think, leaving aside the first 20, 25 minutes, I think that, no, very much a deserved win. It's the kind of match that in years gone by, we would always expect to win by a 3 or 4 goal margin at home. But we'll take it any way it comes in our current situation.
Yeah. Okay. And the lineup, which we started, was this the lineup that you expected, or would you have seen like other players on other positions? Because I mean, there are several players who came back from injury. So what was your thought about that?
No, I think that it was a logical decision by our manager to keep with the same lineup as the previous match. Don't change a winning team is what the motto is, right? And I think
Yeah.
that we obviously found a nice solution in our previous game. So I think it also helps to create. The sort of structure in place so the players know where they stand as well. There's also a lot more transparency. So I think, look, it's great for someone like a Martha as well, who's come through the youth academy. He gets 2 games in a row now at left back. Hilson as well obviously did well in previous games, especially Utrecht away. He's now got, a couple of games to prove himself. And he was also, a very sort of busy player. And you can tell that there's a lot of talent there. Um, for me personally, I thought it was very logical. I don't really see any player that had a bad game. I mean, we're even talking in the group that we're in that someone like a guy as well. Now you can start to see that there's potential there, and he's starting to do better things on the pitch than in previous matches. So, look, I have full faith in Van het Schip and the rest of the gang to know to analyze what's been happening during the week in training, and I think it was it paid off.
Yeah, well, we'll get back to the John van Schip part because that's an interesting thing as well, especially since you are basically the all-knowing with regards to Stein. He wouldn't make it until Christmas, so
Yeah.
I would like to have your view on Joe van Schip as well. But
Yeah.
let's deep dive a bit on the game itself. The first goal, the Bergwijn goal with that great assist from Berghuis. What was it? Was it an offside goal or I mean,
Yeah.
within our
You
group,
know,
within our WhatsApp group, there were
yeah.
like different opinions on that. What was your view?
To be brutally honest with you, I wouldn't have been surprised if it was called offside. I know that there's obviously an element where benefit of the doubt, and if it's really that marginal, do you stick with the on-field decision? But yeah, it was very tight. It was very
Yeah,
tight.
it was. It
Uh,
was.
and and I think especially the images that were being circulated on WhatsApp and social media, it did look like there was an element of his elbow, maybe even his knee, that looked like it was very close to the line, or maybe even
Yeah,
slightly over the line. But look. to be honest with you, Sabi, we've I feel that things equalize over a season, right? Like you can go through a patch where you have terrible luck, and then you have instances like this, and then I just feel like it equalizes a little bit. And as one of the guys in the group said as well, maybe this is just rewards for having gone through 4 or 5 months of pain under
Through
Mauri
hell.
Stein. Well, this is it. You take it. It's the rub of the
Yeah,
green,
of
as they
course.
say. But to answer your question, I really wouldn't have had any complaints if it was ruled off.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I mean, I had the same opinion, and but there are some who really thought, okay, we were very, very lucky with that. And also, yeah, throughout the whole game, if you look at the second half, did you see a big difference between the first and the second half in terms of how we played and how much we gave away?
Yeah, I think that there was I feel like there was a slight difference. I look overall, I was just quite happy with the intent, with the intensity. Obviously, there were periods where there was less of that, but over 90 minutes, that's to be expected, as I said, with a team that is clearly still lacking confidence and form. Most importantly, form. Obviously, it wasn't really the best time to concede. It's never great to concede when we did. But I thought the guys came out very well. Obviously, there was a slightly dicey moment with Branko van der Bomen with his back-headed pass. But
Second
there's
time.
not. I know it's happened 2 games in a row now, but I
Yeah.
don't really think that he was necessarily to blame there per se. But yeah, look, I thought that Diant Ramaj had a great game again. We sit here as Ajax fans and we talk negatively about Mislintat, but it was Mislintat that saw something in him,
True.
signed him, because there was a lot of talk about getting Olic from Sparta. No, it's Sparta, yeah.
Yeah.
And no, he's Dutch and blah blah blah. But no, this guy actually seems like the complete Ajax goalkeeper, if that makes sense,
Yeah.
because he's obviously great with his feet as well.
But did you
Um,
think? But did you think it was a mistake? I mean, maybe the viewers can respond on it as well because there's a lot of discussion also within our group. Was it a mistake of Ramaj, or could he? Well, mistake is maybe a big word. Could he have saved that ball, or was it?
maybe like probably yes, but I just feel like if I don't want to be too harsh on him because I feel that a we've won, so it's
Yeah,
inconsequential, and b
indeed.
he's actually done amazingly well since he started playing for us. So I there's always going to really be situation. If you analyze most goals, you could say, the keeper could have done better. The keeper could have done this. Could he have saved it? But it wasn't like a crazy blunder, where you're like, oh my
No, no,
god,
no, absolutely not.
like,
Absolutely not.
you know,
Absolutely not. No, no. I mean, he had a good game. He had some decent saves. So he brings confidence and his passing ability. I
crazy
mean,
good, huh? Crazy
crazy.
good. I think we haven't had someone like that since Onana, probably.
Yeah,
Uh, Someone that can, really break down the lines with his passing, can really operate as an 11th player,
exactly.
can allow for the structure to be in place when the ball is played back to him, and very comfortable with the ball at his feet.
Yeah.
I think there was a slight dicey moment away at Brighton, but that was probably also Hato's fault with a slightly weird back pass.
Mm,
But
it
yeah,
was, I
on the
mean, the
whole, great.
calmness, the calmness. I'm really, really, his calmness is like crazy, and that brings a lot of trust to the defense as well.
For sure. For
For
sure.
sure. So no, 100%. So I mean, we were talking about Ramaj. Let's go through the other summer signings. Sutalo, I think he had a decent game. What's your thought about it?
Sutalo, nothing that you could, at least what we're seeing is progression. We're not now expecting him to all of a sudden within a week turn into a world class defender. I'm sure he has the potential to be very good. He's displayed that for his previous club, he's displayed that for the Croatian national team. But I think that we have to be realistic. He moved to a new country, couldn't speak the language. He joined as the great signing, the
Yeah,
big hope,
a
and
lot of
he's
pressure.
a lot of pressure, and he's a human being. And human beings, he needed time to settle. He also, what made it worse was that he joined a team that was completely bereft of confidence, not managed by the right person. But you can see now that there are, things that he's improving on, and you can see that okay, there's the potential there, and that's what you want, right? Small
Yeah.
steps, so that hopefully by next year he's fully settled, and we see the real potential of this guy.
Yeah, I mean, let's hope so. I mean, we as fans can be quite critical, and if you
Yeah,
hear 25 million, you expect somebody who is
of
there
course,
already and not to have
of
time. So
course.
that's, I think that's the main difference why people are really upset a bit with Sutalo. But I have full confidence in him. So have you.
Yeah, yeah,
So
yeah.
good thing to hear that
And Guy as
from the
well.
one.
Guy had
Yeah,
some
go
good
ahead.
moments. Martha looks like he's not in a position yet, which is completely understandable to do 90 minutes because he's still very young, and it's a very high intensity when you're playing professional football. Ajax won, but there's definitely things there that you can see. Okay, cool. This is a guy that was come through our youth academy, and then now all of a sudden you see things like okay, when he's run out of steam, you bring on someone like a Sosa, who also showed his quality. I feel with a couple of
Yeah,
really good passes.
exactly. Yeah.
He's clearly got a very good left foot.
No, oh, great. But the the place that I really want to talk about. I mean, we will end with Chuba because I mean he's the highlight
Mm.
of the game, in my opinion. But it's your. I mean, we're talking about you are the one who needs to bring that all up. But if you look at this midfield, Van der Boma, as
Mhm.
I'm always saying, Van der Pirlo because of his passing ability.
Yeah, and he showed that
He,
today also. I feel.
yeah, 100%. I mean, does he? Can he work well with Taylor, or do you really want to see another player next to Van der Bomen? Because I mean, Van der Bomen dictates the midfield, the possession, the tempo, always progressive passes. Do you think somebody like Taylor is suited for him, or do you expect like another player like Voss to be partnering him in midfield?
Yeah, I think it's probably a question more to do with Taylor. Taylor is clearly not brought the level that we feel that he has or that he's shown in previous years this season. So, I think it's more to do with not so much, Van der Boma playing next to Taylor, but should Taylor really be starting?
Good
You're
point.
right. You talk about his directness, Van der Bomen's directness, and that's great. I think that that's what we need. He's obviously got an incredible passing ability. But I just feel like maybe Taylor can then sort of, hide away in between all of that because I still struggle to actually understand what type of function he really has to perform on the pitch. Because when I see him, like even in that, there was a situation today where he was, just outside the box and sort of everyone thought he would shoot, but he didn't shoot. He passed it, which was the wrong choice. So I'm struggling to understand. And it's not really box to box because he doesn't really run back with his man.
No,
So
absolutely not.
and then you look at it. Obviously, when Foss came in, you can see a completely different type of player. And yeah, I think there's an argument to be had that actually, if you replace Kenneth Taylor with Foss, then that could possibly work better because Foss is obviously, like a Hoover. In Dutch, you say stofzuiger. And he's on it. He's, you can tell he's really hungry
Brings
for it, and
energy. He brings energy.
energy. He's a kid
Yeah,
from the conveyor belt, the youth academy. So he wants it. He wants to, and I feel like Taylor's missing that—the motivation or the fitness levels, whatever it may be. But he's just not bringing it. So I
yeah,
feel if you have a Foss next to a Van der Boma, then Van der Boma will have even more confidence to be more, drive a bit more, be more direct, start spraying his passes because he knows he's got someone next to him who can clean up and do the dirty work. So yeah, it's not so much Van Bowman. He's impressed me, but yeah, I really think again we've won. So again, don't wait to change a winning team. But if you had to ask me who would I replace, I would say Kenneth Taylor's time seems to be coming up a little bit.
yeah. No, totally agree with you on that. So yeah, I mean, let's finish up with one of those players that stood up. The highlight, in my opinion, Chuba. What
Chupa
a
Chup.
guy.
Yeah,
Choo
yeah, I'm
choo.
really happy for him. Really, really happy for him because here's a guy who clearly has the ability to score a goal. I mean, I know it was the championship, but the championship, can be argued is In some games probably a higher level than the Eredivisie. Definitely more physical. It's real adult football. You know what I mean? And to score 27 goals or whatever it was, 26, 27
Yeah,
goals in a
last season.
season, you clearly know how to put the ball in the back of the net. And here's a guy who's now made the biggest transfer of his career. And again, same with all the other signings. He's joined a team that hasn't really been functioning. Issues with the manager, technical director, whatever. But he knows how to score a goal. So I'm very happy for him now. He scored in the previous game. He scored 2 today. What an impact! He must be going home with the biggest smile.
Yeah, we could already see that during
Yeah.
the match when he scored. Okay, I mean, I want to know was Chuba basically your man of the match, or do you consider another player because of the many minutes that he played this game?
Yeah,
Another
I
player
think
would be man of the match.
man of the match. It depends the metrics you're using. If you're talking about impact, obviously
Your
2-1. Then
metric, you.
my metric, yeah. Then I would say yeah, because Van der Boma had a good game. I would say probably close second. But I think in terms of pure impact, 2-1 is still a very
Could have gone the other
line.
side as well. Yeah.
If it falls on the other side, it's 2-0. You go home with a draw. But he made the 3-1, then he made the 4-1. So yeah, for me, definitely. That's what you want from a substitute, right?
Yeah, I mean, Broby should be worried if he continues like this in his current
Yeah,
form.
well, but also if you think about it, Robbie, these guys can learn off one another in on the training ground, right? Like if Robbie had that, I don't know what Robbie's like as a personality, but if I was him, I would be really sort of maybe putting my ego to one side and asking Truba, look, what do you think? How do you go about? Because Robbie finds himself in some very good positions, but okay, he scored a goal today, but more often than not, he flaps at the chances. He doesn't have the calmness. He doesn't have the composure. So you can learn off these guys, right?
Yeah, and of course we got Miko, Miko Tatsa as
Yeah.
well.
Who
So I
we've heard
mean,
a lot about, but
yeah,
let's see if he gets a chance.
very, very unfortunate he didn't get any minutes, but I'm quite positive Van het Schip will give him because he was already talking about him. Very fond of him, but just needs to get used to the system in the way we press, in the way we defend, and so on. So I expect a little bit more of Miko in the upcoming games. I will go through the comments and then I will have just one minor or two questions about Van het Schip. So let's see what the viewers
Yeah.
mentioned. We got Meleno saying we should play 2-striker formation. Miko Tatsu will get his shot that way, and Chuba Broby can both contribute. Is it something that you would accept, like playing a 3-5-2 or a 4-4-2, or would you
No.
stick with a 4-3-3 formation?
Yeah, I think that look, we're now obviously got two wins back to back. I think it wouldn't make much logical sense to change the formation up. But I think that he will get his opportunities. I'm sure of that. But I don't think it's wise to start changing a formation, especially now. It's also not something which the guys that have been at Ajax for a longer time would feel comfortable playing. And the problem is when you change the formation at a club like Ajax, say tomorrow Van het Schip changes the formation with 2 strikers and we don't get a result, all hell will break loose. All hell will break loose.
Yeah. Okay. Let's continue. Millennial as well. Broby's second goal was legit. It was a UFC goal, but within the rules, the ref was wrong. I think it was a clear goal, right?
Yeah, I really couldn't see but that's what I mean about luck equalizing, right? We got the marginal offside goal and then this happened. So it evens itself out. I'm not too worried about it.
Yeah. And then Daniel Tudoricha. I would say Ramaj is decent, but I don't see him as a future first choice goalkeeper. The amount paid for him is also for me way too much. Let's say everybody's fit. Ruli, Ramai, Horter is back. You got Pasveer. Would you still consider Ramai as a starter?
Absolutely. I think that if we're being honest with ourselves, has Ruli really impressed any of us? I mean,
Well, he had his okay games indeed, but he also had his bad games indeed.
Yeah, I mean, there was nothing that he did when he was fit and playing for us where I'm like, oh my God, he has to be our number one the moment he gets fit. Again, clearly a decent player. has experienced a lot as well. World Cup winner, Europa League, and all that. But
Yeah,
nothing that makes me feel like he has to be back. Pasveer is what, 41 now, 42.
yeah.
Uh,
I mean, he's really backup keeper. So
he's a backup keeper,
yeah,
and again, Jorge, like I mean, Jorge had some good games for sure, but I just feel like this guy Ramaj come in. He really looks like the
yeah.
real deal.
Okay, we'll just have to wait. One thing we know is really won't accept a second role goalie. So we'll just have to wait how that will folds out.
Yeah,
Um, yeah, Quarantine agrees with you. Taylor is still so horrible. I cannot understand how we stick with him as a starter.
yeah,
Um,
it's strange. It is strange to be honest. Maybe he just trains like an absolute beast, and then on match days he does, I don't know.
yeah, yeah. I mean, I don't understand as well. It's. I mean, many think of him of this Taylor always useless, was overrated. Uh, anyone but Taylor at this point. Foss for Taylor. So they all agree with you, man. That's
Yeah,
it's a
I think that.
it's a clear comments. Um, you got a comment from Goudvik. Bobby and Taylor have the opposite problems. Bobby has the intelligence but lack the technical ability, while Taylor has the technique but lacks intelligence. Something you
Yeah,
agree upon?
I think that's probably fair. I think Robbie finds himself in the right positions, but he can't quite capitalize on them, which is probably a technical issue. You're right, a lack of finesse, a lack of composure, and I feel like you're right. Taylor has that, but he I don't know what's missing. Why the motivation is not there. It's only something that he can answer, right?
Yeah,
Um,
maybe he needs just some time on the bench and to get that motivation again, and then maybe he can do his magic again as he's done way in the past because he is terrible for a long time now already.
for
But
sure. And
okay,
he's good, yeah, to get that
no,
little
no,
bit of.
let's continue to the Van het Schip because you already saw things months before about Stein. Now I want to know about Van het Schip. You do you see a clear comparison between the Stein era and the post Stein era with Van het
Oh,
Schip?
day and night, Sabi. I mean, I'm not saying that we've turned into prime Barcelona all of a sudden, but there is just the basic things that you see now that this team are willing to do on the pitch that they were just unable to do under Maurice Stein. And a lot of that is down to wanting to play for the manager. A lot of that is down to, John van het Schip is also someone, he comes into the dressing room as someone who grew up at Ajax, someone who had a very, decent career. He's also an individual who I think has the right balance between understanding how Ajax should play how Ajax should play the game of football, the Ajax way, but also putting his hand around the shoulders of players, the man management aspect of it as well.
Yeah,
And I think you get that a lot because he's also obviously had international experience. He's coached in Australia. He's obviously managed the Greek national team. You
as well. Yeah,
understand what it's like because Maurice Stein gave off the vibe that I can't work with players who aren't Dutch, very insular minded, and I don't think he could speak English that well as well. But John van het completely different caliber of manager, and you can see it. You can see it on the pitch. They probably instilled confidence in the players. There's very clear understanding of the tasks that the players have to do on the pitch. There's also consistency in selection now as well. So all of these things point to results on the pitch.
cool, man. So basically, you're just saying full trust in John van Schip, and he will bring us European football.
I think so. I
Me
have a
too.
very strong feeling that we will finish top six.
So we can
I think that
click
that's
that.
obviously the title. The league is completely out of the picture. But you can a new clickbait right
New
now.
click.
New
Okay.
clickbait right now. Ajax will finish in the top six.
Okay, we'll record that. We'll clip it. We'll do it all so we can. I mean, we had full trust in you, man, with the Stein. So I'll put my money
Yeah,
on it,
yeah.
Kabir.
I proved to you guys that wasn't a flash in the pan. Ajax are definitely finishing top six.
Okay, cool. Thank you, Kabir. Thank you also for the viewers. Don't forget to hit that like button, subscribe if you haven't done already, and we'll see you again, man, during the live talk.
Yeah.
Thanks,
Thanks,
guys.
guys. Cheers.